Hey everybody, and welcome to day number 19 of the Lincoln Rehab. So it's kind of been a busy day. We are getting all prepped out and ready to install our little platform and staircase inside the garage so to be able to access that door. And as I've mentioned previously, this is kind of the family's main entrance. It's not the main entrance to the house when they have guests coming in, but when they do pull in, they park and then they go in through that, which brings them into sort of a family room and then into the kitchen. So that's their main entrance. And so we really have been working on cleaning up this garage. And it was dark, it was dank, it just really hadn't seen anything probably since the house was installed. And so today we really, I wanted to get the concrete painted before I put the platform up. And so that's what I did today. Now we know we can't paint the plaster walls because we're going to give those 30 days to dry, but we could paint the concrete. And we just use sort of an extreme weatherproofing concrete latex paint. Real simple, you can get it pretty much anywhere, and that's just to seal it, make it nice and clean, and it really brightens up the space. Now, yesterday we were really trying to put down this Rust-Oleum rock solid floor, and we had some issues. We had some issues with coloration variances from the start to the finish. And I'm accustomed to their epoxy shield, and so this is a new product. And it's, and help me out if I get this wrong, but it's a polycuramine based product, which is supposed to be the best of polyurethane, urethane, and epoxy. It's supposed to last 20 times longer, it's supposed to be 3 times harder, it's supposed to have a better shield, and it's just supposed to have a better durability. So this is kind of like their new flagship product, and when I gave them a call, they kind of walked me through some steps on why this would get this color variation. So I YouTubed the heck out of it last night. I learned a couple things about the product, and I just wanted to go over for anybody out there who is interested in doing this to their floor. Rust-Oleum still does have the epoxy shield, but if you're looking for an easier product to go on, then this is the product for you, except if you're doing more than one package. And so here's the deal. You get your box, and this box here is for 2.5 car garage, and it worked itself out so that we had the perfect amount to do this. And so you always should overestimate. If you have a 2-car garage, go for the 2.5 car garage because it does go on thin. So it comes in 2 packages, and when you get this, read your instructions. It does not go on as the epoxy shield does go on, and so there's a lot of cleaning that's involved, and so you've got to degrease the floor, get rid of all those grease spots in there. You've got to etch it, and they use a citric-based etch, and then once it's all cleaned, then you're supposed to open this bag. You're supposed to be able to massage it, break the seal between them, and it's a 2-part system, so there's 2 bags in here, and then you're supposed to mix it by pushing it back and forth. So it's kind of like those cold packs where you break it and then you get your chemical reaction, and then it tells you to pour it directly onto the floor. Well, I'm going to do it a little bit differently, and I did chat with the folks over there, and I'm going to do it how I'm accustomed to doing it with the epoxy shield, in that the larger of the package here, and we do have 2 packages, and we have that because it's an hour set time, and so you've got to time it right, and you don't mix them both right away. You got to mix one, put it down. You should be able to get it down in about 45 minutes. And if it goes longer than an hour, it's basically junk. And then you mix the second one, and then you put it down. So it took me about an hour and a half to do this whole garage yesterday, which is why you got the 2 packets. So I'm going to take the 2 color packets out of this, and I'm going to mix the 2 color packets together inside that bucket. So just the color packets. So we're going to take 2 color packets out of each bag, and we're going to mix it together in the bucket. And then I'm going to pour them so that they're evenly into these 2 cans. Now this is a solute-based product, and so you've got to make sure whatever you're putting it in is not going to melt away. And that's why we're using metal cans here. And then once I have my 2 colors that are now mixed together, we're going to cap one and use it for later. Then we're going to add the hardening agent into our first can. We're going to mix that around, and then we're going to apply it with a paint trim. Now the other thing that I realized when I was doing that is these rollers that they give you, it comes with 2 rollers. They're a foam roller and cardboard center, and they dissolve relatively quickly. In fact, yesterday it did not get through even the first one before I had to skip on to the next roller. So instead of using that, we're going to use these rollers that I picked up, And so these are for epoxy, and it's a very thin nap. It's got a plastic core to it, and it's really one of those smooth bristle brushes that you would use to put an epoxy on. So we're going to use that instead of the foam rollers so they don't dissolve. And the other thing is I've got 2 rollers. Once this epoxy dries, it is hard as all heck. And so I couldn't get them off the rollers. So we're planning on junking these rollers when it's done. We're planning on junking the brush. And the other thing you're going to need, get yourself some latex gloves, because this stuff, once it gets on you, it is sticky. So aside from that, we've got some premium paint remover with a little chemical resistant spray gun. We've got some rags. We've got some squeegees so that we can get everything out of that box and in place. And so now we're going to do it a little bit differently today than the instructions say, and we're going to see how it turns out. So stick with me and then we'll show you it from there, okay?